Hey, PreCalc, here we are again, and it's the 16th. It's Monday that you'll be viewing this, and we're going to do some more trig IDs. I was looking at your list, and it's pretty paltry. So let's add a couple trig IDs to our list, and we will use them in class tomorrow. Product to sum is the name of our trig IDs. I first of all wrote down the first two, what do we call them? They were sum and difference formulas. So here's a sum and here's a difference. So we had 4 of them, but these are the first 2. So if you need to pause and write those down, these are a blast from the past. And I was wondering, and I'm sure you were as well, what it would look like if I added those 2. I know you've been dying to add these 2, so now you can. So when you add 2 equations, you're going to add the parts that, here's the equal sign, you're going to add the parts on the left and then have an equal sign, the parts on the right. So here, sine of a plus b plus sine of a minus b is going to be just that. Let's see if I can fit that in the screen. Sine a plus b plus sine a minus b. Can that combine in any way? It cannot, because this sign has to be applied to the a plus b, and this sign has to be applied to the a minus b. So in no way can we combine a's or b's because of the sign function there. So that's all we can do with the left side. And let's see what happens over here on the right. Here I see this actually crosses each other out, because cosine of a sine b and a minus cosine a sine b. So no, that's all gone. But what is sine a cosine b plus sine a cosine b? Well, it's like we say all the time, one of these plus one of these is 2 of these. 1 apple plus 2 apples. So these are the same, they're called like terms. So when you add x plus x, you get 2x. Same thing in trig. Alright, so this trig ID actually comes to a close when I divide both sides by 2. And that's gone. And I'm going to write the sine a cosine b on the left. And I'm going to write this on the, I'm going to write this on the left and this on the right. I don't know what I said there, but let me keep part of this hidden. So, and I'm also going to write this divided by 2 out in front, 1/2, if you will allow me, if you will be so kind. Alright, well, I'm going to be so kind as to end our first trig ID for tonight. And you're saying, well, what good is this one? Well, what its power is, it takes a product, 2 things multiplied together, and it writes it as a sum. So that is very powerful, because you'll be sitting in the calculus class trying to integrate something that is a product, which is tough to do sometimes. And then you'll realize, bing, can be rewritten as a sum. And the sums are a cinchy to integrate. Now if you notice this course is called Pre-Calculus, so it is preparing you for that fateful day. However, should you not take pre-calculus, that door will remain open. So I'm going to create an open door for you to walk through. So, alright, keeping the door open for a little longer, let me go to these same 2 trig IDs that I started with up here. Can you see them? You cannot. All right, these same two right here, I've just rewritten them right here. So you can pause and write them down. And I was wondering, and I'm sure you were as well, what if I multiplied the bottom one by -1 and then added the equations? So if I multiply this whole bottom one by -1, this becomes a negative. This is an equal sign. I don't know what it looks like on the screen, and then this becomes a negative, and this becomes a positive. So now I can erase this -1 because I already multiplied through by it. So as long as you do the same thing on one side of the equation as the other, it's fine. So I changed the sign by multiplying through by -1 all the way across on the bottom. Now, I was wondering what it would be like if I added the top and the bottom. So I'm sure you're wondering as well. So let's go ahead and find out. So I'm going to add this side, and I get sine of A plus B. Minus, I'm adding, but I have a positive and a minus. I'm going to add, and it becomes sine A plus B minus sine of A minus B. And these cannot be simplified. Over on this side, you can see I have these cross out this time. And what's cosine A sine B plus cosine A sine B? It's 2 cosine A sine B. And now I divide both sides by 2, just like before. And if I have room here, yeah I do, I'm going to do the switcheroonie. I'm going to put the cosine A sine B on the left. And I'm going to rewrite the divide by 2 as 1/2. Mostly how you see this one. So I have sine of A plus B minus sine of A minus B. So here we have another sum to product, product to sum. This is a product. Cover up what's below it. This is a product, and it's changing it to a sum, which is very helpful at different times in your future math life, should you have one. I'm sure you'll have something. Okay, so now we've got 2 tree IDs, and we have 2 more. So I'm not sure how many minutes I've blabbed, so I'm going to turn this into part 2. So, see you in a sec.